Hi, everyone. This is BLG 18, and I am MJ, and Paul's with us today. And Paul,
Yep.
I don't think people realize that you have literally been all over the world.
True.
And
That's true.
you have literally been to things that people only dream about or don't want to go, like Afghanistan and people like that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I just
What's wrong? I loved it so much I went 3 times.
Yeah, Afghanistan. Oh my God. Anyway, explain to them how you ended up getting what was it? NBC, CBS, what was it? NBC.
Yeah.
And you've had a great. I mean,
Okay.
I'm really envious of your career and where it took you.
All right. I'll give you an idea of how my life turned out in 10 easy minutes or less. I always wanted to be either a baseball player or advertising. Neither one of them worked out for me. So when I got out of college, took a job at what's called an earth station. And an earth station has satellite dishes that broadcast up to satellites, and then you broadcast whatever it is. In my case, it was television. And you broadcast it all over. So started out in a facility, spent 5 years in there. It was just, man, that was a long time. And I kind of wanted to get out and do something different. And at the same time I wanted to do that, they bought a satellite truck. So now you're going to but now you're actually going to do news. You're not just going to broadcast stuff. You're actually going to go out and do news, but you get in a truck and you go somewhere. So that was an interesting turn of events for me because.
So just aside, so you take a reporter with you, or how's that work?
I would meet them there.
Okay.
So basically, because I'm the technical side of it, I take my satellite truck and it's got stuff in it, and you hire a camera guy with his crew, an audio guy with his crew, then the producer and the talent, and you all meet at whatever it happens to be. So for example, my first thing that I ever did was in 1987, it was a thing called the garbage barge. And it was a barge of garbage that the United States sent down to Panama to send to some third world country to dump. Panama wouldn't let them through. Been out there 3 months. This is garbage on an open flatbed barge. Now it has to come back to New York. And it came back to New York, and the newspapers, the media made a whole big thing out of the garbage barge and, the stupidity of us shipping garbage, down to South America kind of stuff. And that was the first thing I had done. And it got me because you were in an open, live environment. So you had to do it right. There were no fallbacks. You couldn't make phone calls. There were things like that you couldn't do. And I love that idea of it's on you. You mess it up, all right? And you have to answer for it. So you better know what you're doing, and you better do it right the first time. So it went right the first time. And I just love the idea of course, back then we had to run copper cables. I mean, I think I ran like a 300-foot reel of copper cable is like 60 pounds. And you got to carry it off the truck, and then you got to pull it, roll it out. I could sit here for a half hour and explain just how to set up a live shot. But anyway.
I think the outer office is having a party.
Yeah, I think they are.
I think it's a birthday party today.
Yeah, I think it is too. Well, that's okay. Maybe we'll invite them in for a piece of cake.
Maybe they'll invite us for a piece of cake.
Hopefully they'll invite us.
Anyway, it's a rush, isn't it?
It is. It's an unbelievable rush that I didn't think I would get from it. And so then, like a couple months later, the Pope's coming to New Orleans. Now they want us to go from New York. We were in New York, and they wanted us to drive to New Orleans to cover the Pope. I was like, the Pope? Oh, this is cool. New Orleans, wait, that's a long way from New York. You want me to drive that? And so me and George got in the truck, and we drove down to New Orleans. We were there, we were actually working then with ABC because we were an independent, the company I was working for. And it was great. Had all these people running around, all these time slots and all that. We're supposed to follow the Pope to Detroit. We have to be there in 4 days. So that's plenty of time. No. The sales guy decides, no, what I want you to do is when you finish, I need you to drive back to New York to do this live shot with the New York Knicks, and then quickly get over to Detroit to set up this. Back then, they really didn't have the strict DOT laws that they have today. Could never have gotten away with that. George and I drove back from New Orleans after working 8 hours or 9 hours or whatever it was. It's a 31-hour drive back to New York. And literally, by the time we got to Pennsylvania, we were switching drivers, he and I, every 15 minutes, because that's all we had in us. And we got to New York 90 minutes before the live shot had to happen. And I sent George home, or go to the hotel, sleep, because we got to get to Detroit tomorrow. Now, this is new to all of us, but he was from the military. And there's a lot to be said about military training, and I saw it firsthand how he handled himself. First of all, he used to do howitzers, so he slept like this. I'm trying to curl up in the front seat, trying to figure out some way to get comfortable. And when he's sleeping, he's just like this. How the heck do you do that? You know? So anyway, got the shot done, drove to New Orleans, got the Pope done, got in a hotel, drove back. Now I understand what this job is. And even that was a rush.
Oh,
because of everything was on you. I love the idea of work where it's on me. I've got to make this thing work. And so as my career went, I started doing freelancing stuff, more freelancing stuff. And I freelanced for about 10 years with different companies, and it was a lot of fun. And I went to the White House. I went to President Reagan's funeral. I'm trying to think of what I did with as independents. I covered a couple of golf majors, things like that, but a lot of it was newsy kind of stuff. Where you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you get somewhere by 5 a.m. and you're going all day. So that was fun, but it wasn't really paying the bills. So now comes 1999, 2000. It's 2000, right? It was 2000. I needed a change because now all the networks had trucks and nobody really needed, a lot of the people who had them already. So there wasn't that much work. And so I'm doing this gig for Imus. For those of you who don't remember, he was a radio personality.
Yeah.
And it was up in New Hampshire. So I had to be on site at 2 a.m. because his show started at 5, and he went from 5 to 9 a.m. So I did the shot. I had to do some other stuff. We ended up doing some news live shot somewhere. So now it's like 6:30, and I'm on my way back to the hotel. I'm wiped because I've been up since 2 a.m. I pull up, and so now before I tell you this story, let me tell you this. This is where belief in karma gets proven that it actually exists. This is where the idea that when you focus your energies on change, karma puts something...
I want to interrupt you, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
What you're missing, not that you're missing, but there's a common thread here.
Mm-hmm.
The same thread that I live with.
Mm-hmm.
They call you, you go.
Yes.
You don't say, I'm pretty tired, I can't do it, or
right.
I got nothing to get. No, they call you, you go.
That's right. That's right.
And that really is what success is built on.
It absolutely is what success is built on. Here's where karma puts it in your path, and it's up to you to decide whether you want to use it towards your future. Okay? So I'm sitting at a light. It's 2000. It's the 2000 elections, but it's February. So New Hampshire is like the big state at this point. I get to the light, and it's red, and I'm waiting, and I look, and down this alleyway, I see another satellite truck. I'm like, wonder if that's somebody I know. No, I'm only 2 minutes from the hotel. Let me go take a look. So I turn and I go over and I get out. It's 6:45. I go up to the truck and there are producers running in and out, in and out. Do we have it yet? Do we have it? Is it up? And they're going through all this panicky kind of stuff. And you can see that the guy who's inside the truck is having an issue. So I said, you know, because I had my satellite trucks right behind me. And I said, hey, how you doing? My name's Paul, and that's my satellite truck. You need a hand with something? Because any of you who know me know that that's the kind of person I am.
That's the kind of person you are.
Yep. So he was kind of like frazzled, and he said, oh, could you tune in the DSS for me? Because DSS is what they use for returns at that time so that the people in the place could see what the program is. And I was like, yeah, sure. And, you know, took care of that. It took a minute or two, took care of it, and it was good. So I said, anything else? Because, you know, now one producer runs away because that's been taken care of. But now they're not getting it in New York. It's 10 minutes to air. They're not getting it. And this was Chris Matthews had just joined MSNBC, and he was like their big town. This was going to be their first big town hall meeting. And they can't get the equipment to talk because we've come off analog. We're into digital now. And the digital companies aren't talking. I can talk about algorithms, but I won't. So I said to the guy, I said, can I help you with something else? And he goes, I said, what's the matter? He goes, well, they can't get any signal in New York. So I walked in his truck. Now, you know, normally, you know, you get a little, but he was like, hey, if there's something, you know, and I looked, and the piece of equipment that he was using, I had used in Mexico City 6 months earlier and had literally the same problem with. And I said, well, I told him, I said, here's one way we can try and fix it. You have to keep inputting the information. So you input it, you hit enter, and you see if the other side catches it. And again, these are two different companies trying to talk. So it's hard enough for the algorithm. At 5 minutes to 7, all of a sudden we hear New York. We got one. And we hear, we got one, because what they were doing is they were shipping the audio and the video back on the same path. So we had 3 paths, or he had 3 paths going up. Now on one path, they have one camera and the audio. Now they have something. So he and I we get into the other 2 encoders and we start playing. At 3 minutes to 7, they got all 3 of them.
Wow.
3 minutes to 7. And everybody was good. The main producer came in. He said, all right, we got everything. Everything looks great. Everything good out here. Didn't even notice I was in the truck. And so we both took a nice deep breath, and I said, all right, you good? So now New York's on the phone. And New York says, hey, who's the other voice in there? And he pointed to me. You know, he said, anyone? I said, oh, my name's Paul Harrington. I run a satellite truck, and I just happened to be passing by, and I said hello. And the guy, to his credit, said he helped me get these things going. And he said, oh, you were helping him? I said, yeah. I said, you know, I came over to say hi to a fellow satellite truck guy, you know, and I've worked with these encoders in Mexico City, and I'm just glad I could help you out. And the guy said, listen, thank you. You know, I don't know who you are, but you need to send your resume to us. And I said, okay. And said, you know, said goodbye to the guy, walked out. Never sent a resume. I think when I woke up the next morning, I think I remembered why I was tired was because I was exhausted after trying to get this thing going, right? 6 months later, they tracked me down and found out who I was to send me to Kosovo to do the Kosovo-Albania war.
And it was
over there.
What, CBS?
No, that was still NBC.
Oh, NBC. Was it on MSNBC or?
Well, no, this was NBC Network. This was the network. And it was building satellite dish, a portable satellite dish. They were setting up, the Marines were setting up a camp. They wanted to have a live shot position. And they sent me over because of what I did for them. Strictly because that's who I was.
That's what it amounts to. That's all. I know it sounds simple, but it really wasn't.
No, and it really wasn't. There was a lot of praying involved because you're dealing with new technology. So with new technology, it doesn't necessarily.
And a lot of people are still stupid. There's people that I know that's not my problem and walk out of there.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe just not go over.
Yeah.
Oh man, this guy's busy. Oh yeah, no, I'll talk to him some other time. And I'm not saying that if I wasn't there, it wouldn't have happened. But it's just interesting that they didn't have anything, and then when he and I started working together on it, then maybe at that point, for some reason, the decoding equipment in New York came up. Right now, just to finish that, after the Albania war, I went back to freelancing. Because, it wasn't like they said, hey, you want a job? It's a network. It's a major network. So I went back to freelancing. Didn't think anything of it. 9/11 came in New York.
Did you own the truck?
No. People own the truck and they hire me to drive it and work it.
Oh, okay.
So I was an operator. Though I did talk to a guy one time. He and I talked about developing a truck together. But it just wouldn't have worked out because by the time we would have came up with the money and all, the market was already flooded with so many vendors that it wouldn't have worked. But the idea of working other people's trucks worked okay. So now 9/11 happens. And now every network is scrambling. Because what I didn't tell you, I forgot to tell you, was back in 1992, just before 91, when Marianne was 8 months pregnant, with our first, I got a call from CBS to go over to Iraq. $2,000 a day for 30 days to run a portable satellite. Couldn't take it. First baby, 8 months, 1 month away. She wasn't going to let me go, and so I didn't take it. So, and again, that it's not really an opportunity. Somebody called me, asked me, Now 9/11 comes. And I remember because I'm walking by the Waldorf Astoria in Manhattan, and all of a sudden, I get a phone call from CBS. Hey, would you be available to go to Afghanistan? Now, as a daily hire, you have your calendar. You book everything in advance as much as you can, right? I had a gig booked on Christmas that I could not get anyone to cover. And because of the kind of person I am, even though they're talking about sending me for, a month or, whatever it was, because I committed to that person, I couldn't take the job. And I only had 4 gigs booked, and this is December 8th, I think it was. So I had to tell them, no, I can't get the thing covered, Half hour later, ABC calls. Same question. And I said, well, when do you want me to leave? They said, oh, we need you to leave tomorrow. And I went, I said, if it was after Christmas, I could help you. But I can't leave it, not tomorrow. So now, I'm like, oh, man, look at the opportunity. An hour later, Stacey Brady calls. Stacey Brady, who is a wonderful woman, I got to tell you, at NBC. I enjoyed working with her so much. She calls me and says, hi, Paul, this is Stacey Brady. I don't know if you remember me. She was the one who called me to go to Kosovo.
Okay.
And I said, oh, yeah, hi, Stacey. How you doing? She goes, hey, I'm in a bit of a bind. Any chance you could go to Afghanistan? And I'm like, I'm on the other side going, yeah, I haven't heard this tune before. And I said, well, it depends. When would you need me to go? She said, well, I just sent a crew in. I would need you to go January 8th.
Perfect.
Now, all of a sudden, everything changed. And I said, hold on a second. Let me look at my calendar.
How long were you there for?
56 days.
Wow.
The first time. And so she hired me to go there. And I went. And when I came back, they asked me if I wanted to stay on as a daily hire. Because they called me twice. And I said, okay, twice. And I was the daily hire with them till 2014. So that was, 13 years as a daily hire. And then I was staff for 6 years. And the reason I made staff is because my manager said, well, if I can only hire one guy, I want Paul. Because I call him, I know he's going to say, okay, and I know I don't have to worry about him. He'll get it done.
So were you working every day, or is it just like 2 or 3 times a week?
No, once I came back from the second time in Afghanistan, it was 5 days a week as a daily hire. And I bring that up because, number one, we can talk about karma all we want, but if you really look back at your life, you can find times where what looked like an opportunity showed up, but you didn't take it. And you have to think really hard, because you would have just kind of passed it off like it was a dead end side street. And because you're supposed to stay on that main path in life, whatever it is, stay on the main path.
Actually, I don't believe that.
Well, I don't think, I agree. I think no more. I don't think that applies anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Don't button yourself into a corner. Do not do that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I agree with you for now. Yeah. But the idea that's how life works. We all talk about how we want new, fun, exciting things, except our life. We want these little things interjected, but we don't want our life to be, fun and exciting. Oh, let's go explore this thing, But yet when we go on vacation, we want to go to a new place. We want to walk this trail. Let's climb this volcano. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want that to be your life?
Absolutely.
And Absolutely. So I saw that as an opportunity. And so, and just to let you people know, I am publishing my second book, and it will be called, I have a choice. It's either going to be called Uncovering Afghanistan, Mom, or Life in Afghanistan. Good. And the book will be out this year.
I like that first one.
Yeah, and it's because a lot of what I talk about is what we went through on a daily basis. But then I also talked about the Afghani people. And I remember, and I worked not just the Afghanis, but I worked with people from around the world. So I'm working with people from 5 different countries at the same time. And we're trying to get the same thing. I'm working with the Marines. I'm working with the new government, the new fragile government, while the Taliban's in jail. But I've got to watch myself on the street, make sure some kid doesn't come up and stab me in the back for $50. Yep. And it was such a fun time. I had such a good time. I absolutely love that kind of stuff. And I learned that in Kosovo because I worked with some great guys and girls there. And that's how my life became. I've probably done 40,000 live shots in my life. I've been to 5 of the 7 continents, 20 something countries. I played golf in 15 countries.
So let me wrap this up.
Okay.
Buy his new book when it comes out. He's a fascinating man, and I really do believe when the book comes out, it's tour worthy of you to go around and talk about your life, because it just
and one of the nice things,
wonderful.
Because not only does the book get into not just kind of what's going on, but the mindsets. You're actually going through my emotions during 56 days of what we went through, and that the fact that you're doing live shots all hours of the day and night. Things are happening, because when news breaks. You got to go. News isn't going to sit there and wait for you to show up tomorrow.
Nope.
Right? And that's how it works. And it was just a fun time, but the book will bring out, you'll see the rows of emotions that I go through. And I talk about some of the things that the other guys and girls are going through. And I think it'll just be an enjoyable thing. And I've got 150 pictures that are going to be in there as well. It'll be a great picture book as well to look at. And I think you'd enjoy it if you want to go on a nice little ride with me. I think you'll enjoy the book.
Okay, we've talked enough, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
No, great. I think it's great. It's his second book. Don't forget his first book about golf.
Yeah.
Don't forget about that because that is his second passion in life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the adventures are incredible. Trust me, I've known him long enough that I can tell you things that he has done. I did. They could make movies about. They really could make a movie out.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. So I hired a publisher because the first book I self-published. Second time I said I'm going to hire a publisher. So I hired a publisher, and the publisher has a whole SEO section. They have a whole section to write the covers. I mean, they really take you all the way through it. And one of the sections is, and I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to wait till the book comes out. Is the film writers, the people who put together a script to give to people like Netflix.
Yep. To
see if they might be interested. And I hadn't even thought about that until they actually mentioned it. And then I was like, yeah, actually.
What a miniseries. It would be a great miniseries.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
I don't know where they find anybody that looks like you, but I'm sure there must be somebody out there.
There's got to be somebody better looking. Come on, man. Jeez.
And I want to have I got to be in the film someplace. That's all I know. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Drinking water or helping connect something.
Oh, I think I could find you a bit part. Absolutely.
And maybe
I'm not going to be in it.
Well, yeah, you should be in it. They don't know that you're not the guy that's it.
You know what?
One of the guys in the background.
I should be like Alfred Hitchcock, who always made an appearance. And so, you know, like some guy sitting in the bookstore or something.
It'd be fun. Anyway, it would make a great movie. Paul, I can't tell you enough about what a great guy he is, and an amazing guy.
Thank you.
All right,
so when I talk about life, you kind of get an idea of why it's an important thing that you look at your life and look forward to moving forward. How about that?
Okay. Good job.
Okay. Thanks.
Nice job, by the way.